I understand that you're not going to change anyone's mind, so why kill
No,
yourself with it?
yeah, and that's I've come to a realization. I said, if you want to believe that that somehow they said if you want to believe somehow that Don you know Don is being persecuted because he's running for president.
Yeah, exactly.
San
That,
Francisco 49ers 27-7.
yeah, they're killing them. Good. Here's the thing, though. Cowboys and Niners are my natural born enemies. I hate them both, so I don't care what they do.
And hey, Mark King's in the house. But anyways, hey, so let's see.
Mark the Savage King.
And I think they should name football teams actually after the places the places where they actually are. Like you call it the San Francisco Gay Boys.
That's politically incorrect.
So what do you call them? Ass reamers? I don't know. But hey, so the 49ers are shafting the Cowboys. Is that how you'd call that?
There you go. Well, the Cowboys love it when they get shafted.
Well, I mean, they're from Texas and they wear those gay cowboy boots.
Exactly.
My nephew in Texas gets so mad. I mean, he sent me this picture. He said, "Oh, check out my new boots." Said, "Oh, so you're doing drag shows now?" I'm sorry, cowboy boots. I just laugh. I mean, these all decorated up, thing. So what is the AZ team called? Well, I mean, it used to be the St. Louis Cardinals, and then Bart Starr, a Green Bay Packer quarterback, bought him and brought him to Arizona, and still calls them Cardinals. And why, I don't know. I'm not a Cardinals fan, so I don't really care.
I don't know.
Anyways, back to the economy.
So
back to the economy, where we started this whole conversation. Like I said, as far as inflation goes, we're running almost 50% from where all the G7s are, and we're at, I mean, energy costs. Our energy costs actually have dropped 11% in the past year. Canada's beating us by 1%. And that's because a lot of the renewables, wind and solar, are coming out, came online last year and drove it down, right? Now, since the pandemic, the strongest recovery since 2021 of any of the G7s. I mean, so what I like the Diamondbacks as far as calling them by calling them by where you live. Yeah, call them Diamondbacks. Call them the Heat. Oh wait, we use the Heat for the Diamondbacks for the baseball team. The Heat, Hot Boys. Whatever. I mean, the Hot Boys playing the San Francisco Gay Boys. That'd be an interesting game.
Yeah, you'd like that hot action, wouldn't you?
I mean, it'd almost be like New York City. But anyways, so yeah, I mean, so what's wrong with the economy? I mean, all seriously, I mean, have you had a problem buying gas? Have you had a problem, buying whatever you want?
I'll say this. I notice it more now.
Well, that's because you have an entire group that all they do is they put it in your head every day.
I feel it from what I pay for things that the same things that I used to pay for cost more now. 100%.
Yeah, that's because other people want to buy the same stuff you do.
I don't care about that. All I care about is, what's going out for the same thing.
But how is anybody going to solve that? Right? The way you solve it, when I started out, I said it's a supply and demand problem. Right? You have more people wanting than you have people, supplying. And if somebody says, "Hey, I'll give you $10," if you were selling, I don't pick something, widgets, right? You're selling widgets for $10, and somebody said, "Hey, I'll give you $10.05," and they live in Australia. Are you going to sell them to the guy, next door for $10, or are you going to sell them for $10.05 to the guy in Australia? So the guy next door has got to, pay $10.05. He's, so whose fault is that? I mean, is that a government fault? Should the government actually, try to even run that in a free market economy?
Dave Ramsey always has that line. The last word you ever want to hear is, I'm here from the government, here to help you.
Yeah. I mean, and to blame, and somehow blame, a president, I mean, I would have never blamed, I never blamed the last president for the, the 29% drop in the economy, in his last year. It wasn't his fault. He had nothing to do with it. He partially did when he did the government shutdown, when he shut down the entire, U.S. economy, basically, which was kind of a joke because all he did was shut down like certain sectors, fast food markets, fast food, restaurants, hotel workers and all, people he was concerned about. Right? They had to go to work, but factories closed down. To me, those were more essential than getting a burger at Burger King. That was my criticism of, of our economy. You keep the poorest people working, and the middle, the upper middle class, and that we're going to give them huge checks to stay home.
Well, I think
Mark says a Big Mac there is about $8.50. It's probably about the same here, $8.50, $9. I don't know.
Yeah, I was just saying that before, Mark. Here, Big Mac meal is over $11 in Brooklyn's probably over 12 or 13 in Manhattan.
Yeah, but I mean, you also have to look at what is the average? If you wanted to rent a 1-bedroom apartment, well, here, like your place upstairs, not to throw you on the spot, but your place upstairs is what, $3,000 a month?
No, I wish.
What, 2?
A little less than 2.
Right.
It's small up there, man.
Yeah, but you gotta, but hey, you could probably bump it to 25 and somebody would rent it.
No, my place, I could probably get like 3,500.
Right.
Around there.
I've seen, there's a guy that runs around New York City and says, "Hey, what do you pay for rent? Let's go look at your place." I saw $1,400 a month.
Oh, probably be like a closet.
Yeah, in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
No. And it was. I mean, the guy's like 6 foot tall, and he reached out and touched both sides of the wall. RMA. What's up?
Welcome in, RMA.
Army.
He's from New York. No, he's upstate New York.
Yeah, he's upstate. Yeah. But I mean, here's the thing: is it depends where you live. I mean, here in the Phoenix area, if you want an apartment, it's in a decent one. The bottom line is, it's everything's going to cost you $1,800 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment here in the Phoenix area. Unless you want to live in an area that hey, yeah, you can park your car, maybe there in the morning, may not. You can get those for $1,000.
Well, you have that all over the world, though.
Yeah, I mean,
I've been doing a lot of research on Colombia myself, Medellin, Bogota, and Cartagena.
yeah.
I'm gonna probably head over there next month for a couple weeks.
All right. Biden wants to get rid of. That's actually probably if you ever met Joe Biden, it's probably just about the opposite of the way he thinks. He, I mean, he probably leans towards getting rid of the ultra rich. That yeah, and trying to do something about like the southern states, in their minimum wage. I mean, I couldn't believe that in Kentucky, I, I mean, a lot of the people that were let go, I mean, they're looking at getting jobs for $7.50, $8 an hour in that area, because that's what the place next door. They start them at $7.25 an hour. And we started people at, I mean, when I asked the HR gal, I said, well, when you were hiring, I said, what were you paying? So we started them at $9 an hour, which is really good. That's why they were, completely filled up with people, and they loved working there. I mean, some people have been there for 23 years, right? And they make almost $22 an hour, which in that area of Kentucky, huge money. Because the other option is next door to where this place was. And the really sad part, when I was talking to one of the guys that had been there for 20 years, the really sad part is they gave that the corporation they work for, they gave them a free 20-year tax break. They didn't have to pay any property taxes for 20 years. The county paid to build a building and all improvements and lease it back to them for $1 a year for 20 years.
Yeah, well, these rural, crappy little places have to incentivize business to come there.
And I said, but they took out a 30-year bond, right, that you are going to continue paying on, even though the corporation is going to, pay them $1 a year for that piece of property as it rots away.
$1 a year.
Yeah.
Will they make that lump sum, or will they do, 30 years worth of payments?
Yeah, I said, did they? That's what I asked. I said, I'm wondering if they just gave him $30. I said, okay, we just paid 30 years, and they decided it wasn't profitable, and they moved out. But the county paid, the county paid like $84 million to build this facility that these people are on the hook for paying, right? And the promise was, that they would hire, 500 plus people, and it would pay them, a certain rate or whatever, and they get all these, tax things for a period of 10 years. Or period of 5 years. I'm sorry, it's 5 years. Guess how long that plant's been open?
Kenny, welcome to the program.
The plant has been open for 5 years and 3 months. So they met all their contractual things, and that's when they said, okay, we're done. Now the company lost $1 million a month, for the last 2 years. That's so they didn't have to pay back all the money it was spent for it. Ken Unger's in the house, huh?
Yeah.
So what? All right, let's see. Halftime's up. Yeah. Yeah, Mark's one of those one of those San Francisco guys.
Even though he's in Arizona.
Yeah, I think I think he ran. He came here to Arizona, from San Francisco to, give us all the San Francisco great things.
No, he retired in Arizona because it's much cheaper.
Yeah. So
we always knew that. We always knew that Mark King was traitorous at heart.
Yeah. He likes to hang out in the hot tub and, come here, young man.
And stare at the Card Juniors across the street.
Anyways, but back to that. That it's a shame. I mean, I made that argument back in the '80s when when they when these when these companies that you want to kiss their ass and give them all this stuff that you don't hold anyone accountable for it. I mean, my brother, I love him to dear, and he's like, oh yeah, they up in Wisconsin, Foxconn, they took and gave these people 16,000 acres of land. They condemned a brand new subdivision to give it to them. They spent $13 million building an off-ramp on the expressway so that these, so Foxconn could build iPhones in the US and open a, state-of-the-art research and development center. This was a Chinese corporation, and the year was 2018. The president of the United States in 2018 went out there and broke ground. Now they tore all those houses to the ground. You know how much they built?
No clue.
Nothing.
But when I was pondering today,
they were given the 16,000 acres, right? And they have tax incentives. But the deal was they were going to hire like 4,900 people for high wage, high tech jobs. Foxconn says nope, we're not going to do it. Right? And they said, so we'll give you back the $300 million you gave us. But we still own the land because under the original contract, you gave us the land. So now they own 16,000 acres, and they gave back the 300 million. The Chinese guy gave them back the $300 million that they paid him to build all these facilities. But the millions spent for the off ramp, it's going to be like. You ever watch the Blues Brothers movie in Milwaukee, The Bridge to Nowhere, where it went, it ran down, and there are big signs, get off here. And if you continued, it was the bridge that was supposed to go to Michigan that never got funded.
No, I know nothing of any of this.
Yeah, I mean, this is another boondoggle. But as far as and these things kill the U.S. economy. I mean, this idea that somehow is it. Dennis Adam, how you doing?
Hey, Dennis.
Yeah, this idea that the U.S. economy is doing bad is wrong. I mean, the U.S. economy is doing great. I mean, what we have is a consumer problem. We have people, and that's basically what the idea the Fed uses for raising interest rates is we have, too many people, right? They have too much disposable income. And when you have people that, are willing to pay and you don't have the goods, they're going to pay more.
Now, you know what I was thinking about today, Scott, I think is much more interesting than what you're talking about is how we don't really cure diseases. We have companies that, they make something that you have to take, like you're addicted to, you have to take for the rest of your life. Like they don't actually come up with a cure for anything. They just want to get you on the dole, get your monthly prescription, and we have the highest prescription prices in the world. Yeah, our big pharmaceutical companies. They don't. I feel like they could actually like cure things, but I think they don't even think in that term because they don't want to do that. They just want to give you something that you have to be on maintenance on for the rest of your life. You know, there's different things.
Hold on. Dennis Adams says no Sharia law. That's messed up. What's he talking about?
You have that all over your thing.
Yeah, no. I said, are you concerned about it? Yeah, I am. I don't believe in Sharia law. Right? There should be no religion in law. Right? And if you actually look at the entire, do you mind if I here? Let me bring it to the front. Right? If you actually look at it, right?
I think he's goofing on you.
No, it's probably he's probably on your stream and looking at it for the first time. Oh, how do I do that?
Yeah, that's not my screen.
Yeah, it's on your screen.
Well, it's on my screen, but not on my live.
Yeah. I mean, what it talks about is is that you have a certain thing here in the United States, and it's pushed mostly by Republicans about teaching religion in school, banning all sorts of crap. Right? That is Sharia law. I mean, that's exactly I lived in those countries. That's exactly what I see. And this idea that the United States was based on Christian beliefs. Actually, the founding fathers were not Christians. There were a few, but basically, the guys that signed the Constitution,
aren't they Masons?
Yeah, right, and I mean, George Washington didn't believe in God, right? Neither did Jefferson. Right?
Smart man.
They actually wrote things about that. And there were certain things. Okay, they changed the wording. That certain people wanted to say, your creator, versus, right? You're endowed with certain inalienable rights by your creator. Right? What does that mean? God? Yeah, your God. Whatever you want to believe that is. Your creator. Okay, yeah. So I mean that's what it is. I mean, but I see a certain political, in the last 5 years, the political group I used to love and belonged to, was a member of, changed their philosophy that, somehow, that we have to have Christian law in the US. I'm dead set against that. Because when it comes to Christian law, whose Christian law do you want? Do you want Catholics? Do you want Protestants? Do you want the Baptist? Maybe you want the Southern Baptists. Yeah, the Taliban enforces. Well, no, the Taliban enforces their version of Sharia law. I mean, but I know that because I lived for 8 years in Kuwait, where they also have Sharia law, and it's a little different. In Saudi Arabia, it's a little different. It just depends on the country, and it's a Muslim, religious law. So I mean, trust me, you wouldn't want religious law enforced in the United States. I mean, that would just be wrong. I mean, the idea. I mean, do you want to be told, what products you can buy and whatever? That's all that comment is.
More people in the world's history have been killed because of religion.
Yeah. It's
as a human species, can we move on now? I want to have these freaking fantasies. And it's only when it's convenient for them. It's not even religion's fault. It's the people.
Here, no. So Dennis, here, right? Some countries sure laws become tools to perpetuate inequality and restrict women's freedoms. System made headlines recently when Taliban closed all. Yeah, right. So here in the United States, under religious law, we decided to, restrict abortions, right? To now make criminals out of women that would go somewhere else, under the U.S. Constitution. Okay, if I want to buy, we were joking about this yesterday. They said, as a young man living in Wisconsin, it was illegal, right, to sell oleo. You couldn't call it margarine; you had to call it oleo, right? Which was, margarine, right? In Wisconsin, they changed that, and they said, well, you can sell oleo. And after a court battle, it was changed, to say you can sell oleo, but you cannot color it. So they used to sell, right? They used to sell a little plastic, thing with yellow dye, and you had to mix it together.
Right? Every man repeats a story. Welcome to the program.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, every man? Yeah. So, lived in Utah, and Mormon law is just fine. Catholic law in the Philippines is great. And there again, if you believe in that, fine. But what happens? What happens if you believe in? What if you're a Baptist? What if you're a Baptist in either place, right? And you don't believe it?
Yeah, Ken, it is hitting the fan over there.
No, and there again, that's and there again, what Ken's talking about is completely religious. I have had a lot of Israeli, military friends, and we always talked about it. He said, at a certain point, human rights, first of all, Israel is a country, that was built, by a declaration by the UN, right? So you take an entire country, Palestine, right, and that have been there for hundreds of years, right, and you call it now Israel, for thousands of years, actually, and now you're going to call it Israel, right? Now, for those people that are going to get mad, I'm going to just state this straight out, right? If you look at, the Bible history, right, of Israel, right, that's Jerusalem. But why wasn't Jerusalem actually included in, the land of Jerusalem? Why wasn't that included when the UN did that? Politically incorrect, right? So they looked around the area, and they picked an area where, the people were the poorest and they had nothing to lose, by overriding them, say, hey, we're going to take your land and we're going to call it Israel. Right? And that created a huge problem, because these people came in and said, you got to get off your land, and they're still treated like second and third rate, citizens. And, he said when, and after some wars, they took over land that wasn't considered theirs. And, it's just created a huge problem. Do we need to create another religious, area? No.
Good night, Mark. Mark's turning in.
All right. Later, Mark. But, but if you look at the actual, history of that part of the world, and you look at the biblical history, Israel should have included Jerusalem, but it never did in the beginning.
Right. Well, this is just people killing each other for thousands of years over religion.
See, I'm getting a $400 bump. Social Security. My baby March. Jen and I will have baby every year until we are making bank.
Yeah.
So he must be on Social Security disability that the GOP wants to cut out.
You should get paid for that, everyman. I mean, you're doing all that hard work in the bedroom. You should at least get paid for that.
Right, at least, yeah. That's kind of what I always laugh about is I mean, some of these proposals I've looked at, it's like, okay, when you apply for like Social Security disability, I told somebody, so you're disabled. So if you decide after you're disabled to have more children, should you get more money? Interesting question. Personally, no, absolutely not. I mean, I realize you're a little bored at home, but why?
You're just mean, Scoot. I think you should be getting $800 per child.
Yeah. He says Jen's using a turkey baster. Yeah.
That beats her having to look at you.
Yeah. Or just tell her, hey, at least, tell her, she's Filipino, so Vicks Vapor Rub. You have to put that on the outside so there's no disease.
Yeah, use it as a lubricant.
Yeah. But, no, you just
Balmy hot. Whatever Shaq's endorsing, that's what I like to buy myself.
But yeah, the only reason I say that is, every time if I sneeze, B-Joy runs over Vicks Vapor Rub. Oh, you need, this is, and the best part is she got a nursing license in New York State.
You know what? I'll send her what you really need. You need smelling salts. Whenever she sees you dozing off, just go over and open up that. Yeah, I agree. No, Mark from every man. I'm in favor of doubling whatever you're getting now.
Well, I mean, I always laugh. I said,
In fact, there should be a special $1,000 a month per bonus for people who go and live overseas. Think about it. They're less of a drain on society if they're somewhere else.
Did you see that the people that have given up their U.S. citizenship are suing the U.S. for overcharging them?
Hey, Tropical Tim's in the house. Welcome.
Timbo.
See, like Tim, I mean, he should get at least double his pensions that he's getting now for living overseas. He's not a drain on the system. Should be rewarded.
Well, I mean, he was in the Navy, so that's kind of a drain.
No, that was his working career. And all our branches of military service are very important and appreciated.
Well, I mean, I got my pension, so, so should I get double?
I make a special exception for you. You should get half.
Dang. I mean,
you clearly have too much money and too much time on your hands, so
I do actually. And actually, I cut my hours back to I'm only going to work like I told him max I'm going to do is 48 hours a week. I mean, today, this week it was 70, and I said that's it. I'm done. I'm not doing it again. I'll do 36 to 40. I'll do 36 to 50 hours.
Scott, since you know everything, every man's asking a question. Is there a cap on a Social Security cap on how many children he can collect on?
Yes.
How many?
I don't know. Well, no, there's a cap on how much if you're on disability that you can collect on. So
no, but if he has extra kids, then he should get extra money on every one.
No.
How's he supposed to run a business if he can't get more money?
I don't know. No, it's not true.
But he does have a very successful YouTube channel that I never watch.
but no, I know that, when you're on disability, it doesn't matter how many kids you are. There's a certain, thing. And that, if you're below that and you have a kid, yeah, they pay extra.
Well, Dennis, I don't know if the U.S. government can afford that tab for Tropical Tim.
Well, I was thinking when I get over there, I mean, if Tim can send me, well, he drinks that San Miguel. I'm thinking,
Pilsen.
send me, the pills, yeah. I guess I could live with that, but you'd have to send me like a case a day. I don't know. I mean, that might, Emily, how's Em's doing?
Welcome to the program.
But anyways,
We're trying to get more money for everybody. So far, we got every man. He's getting an extra $400, $500, $800 a month per kid.
See that, but here again, we should send everyone money and then complain about the deficit. And then, then we'll complain about the taxes because we have to pay off the deficit.
I don't really want every man to interview Tropical Tim because then I might have to actually watch his channel. And I'd rather not. So Tim, please stay away from Every Man channel.
That's why Every Man wants more money, because he's in Dumageddon, where
Is it Dramageddon? Dumageddon?
Dumageddon. Yeah.
Dumageddon. Dramageddon.
Well, I mean, Dumageddon used to be a great place to go, and it was reasonable.
Yeah, but now all the expats are there.
Oh yeah.
All the 70-year-old whining little bitches are in Dumageddon.
Well, no, actually, it was like God. It had to be like 7 years ago. I told Bud Brown. I says, you're going to ruin Dumageddon. Going there and telling everyone how great it is, because it's going to become Americanized. That's why I tell people, do not go to Bukidnon. It's not safe. It's dangerous. And you're going to die there. Because they have no hospitals, they don't have anything. Do not go to Bukidnon. Do not go to Mindanao. It's not safe. Dangerous place. Don't go to Tondo. Do not go to Tondo.
See, Tim's gonna
of Manila.
See, Tim's in on it. He's gonna get an extra $900 for adopting a kid that he could probably only probably only cost him $200 a month to raise him. That's $700 profit every month, right there.
$200 a month to raise a kid in the Philippines?
Yeah. Well,
it's about 100.
Go to Okay, do the whole wardrobe with, $7, stuff like that.
Wait, every man's Tim. There you go. You stay at a place, you swim in the morning. I don't think he knows that Tim swims naked.
No, he likes that.
Oh, okay.
No, he knows. And besides, in the afternoon when it starts to get a little warm, they can throw rocks out his window into the ocean together.
Tim's from the south side of Milwaukee, so the idea of swimming naked with other men is fine with him, but
no, that's one of every man's hobbies. He likes to throw stones out his window because he can reach the ocean. But sometimes if he gets to open the window, he has to replace it. But other than that, it's a good time.
See, I was from the north side of Milwaukee, where men joined the Army and Marines, and Tim was from the south side of Milwaukee, Navy, Air Force. Then after he got out, he went to Texas, and his son joined the Marines.
No, it doesn't make you gay, every man. It makes you normal. Makes you human.
Yeah.
Besides, you got a beautiful young wife there that you can make babies with, so no one can ever accuse you of being gay.
Yeah. No, that's right. And and if Tim tries to grab the snorkel and breathe, it's just the Navy. It's just being in the Navy.
He was in the Navy for 10 days. didn't know they let you out. I didn't know they had 10-day service.
But there are some people, I mean, when I enlisted, right, there are certain people that have,
What were you, a PFC too?
What? When I joined? No, I was one. It was PFC 1. Yeah. Yeah, it's,
he's got to pay more for that bigger size.
Yeah.
It's just a burden you'll have to live with, Tim. Oh, every man spoke about that. Yeah, but the same thing is, I don't watch your channel because you block me.
Well, that's why I don't watch Tim's anymore. He blocked me, so.
Yeah, little bitches.
Well, I always laugh about that. I mean, thinking about it, like Tim being from Milwaukee.
Scott, if Tim don't like you, we don't like you. Get over it.
I mean, it'd be like, sitting at a bar, bitching and complaining.
You're a very annoying person.
Yeah, and so is Tim. I mean, we've talked for hours, and hey, being from Milwaukee, that's what you do, right? But next morning you wake up, say, hey, fuck it, it's all over.
You said that you lost his friendship. Wait, Scott, let me ask you a question. You seem upset that you lost Tim's friendship. Maybe we can offer a peace brokerage here.
I can't, well, here, what makes you think you're blocked? Well, you asked me a question, okay? So I'll say it right out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. If I send them a message, yeah, it's blocked.
What, on his YouTube channel?
Yeah. I mean, it's like Mercury 3, doing that. It's like, okay. I mean, I would never block anyone from my channel. I mean, I've had trolls, so it happens.
That's right, every man. That's why when you block me, I don't go watch your channel no more, because I'm blocked for life. Even though you come to my live and say funny stuff.
Personally blocking somebody, whether it be on Facebook or I don't care what what social media. It just shows that you're thin-skinned and and really have I mean, your balls are the size of babies. When it comes to man, that's how I look at it. I mean, there's people God, there's people that irritate the living crap out of me every day of my life. I'd love to slap them upside the head, but but I'll listen to them. Yeah, every man, oh God, you gotta come spend some time with me.
And you shouldn't, every man, tolerate trolls on your awesome channel.
Right. So Tim, if it's not true, I mean, hey, send me a messenger. Right? Because both your accounts, it says, on your messenger it says, they're blocked. So can't be on my side. I don't know how, changing your phone would cause, I'm not calling your personal cell phone. I realize, you changed it, and that number didn't work. But, I mean, how does it not work on Messenger? How does it not work on email? I'm just confused.
It seems like Tropical Tim has made you very sad, Scoot, and I'm sorry for that.
I just thought it, I just thought, being a man from Milwaukee, and him and I, have a, I love to fuck with him, and and
so let me break it down. So basically, You thought you were in the middle of a nice bromance with Tim.
Oh yeah.
And, you just loved arguing.
And then all of a sudden I'm blocked from everything.
Yeah, like you used to loved arguing together, and it just, felt right. It wasn't serious. It didn't get personal.
It'd be like you and I, I mean, it'd be like, if you blocked me, it would hurt.
Oh, if I blocked you,
but you're here in the U.S., so I show up at your doorstep, knock on your door, and say, "Hey, the fuck's going on?"
Scott, I already know. If I ever decide to block you, I'm going to have to get a new phone number and move immediately. But Tim has, 8,000 miles separation.
Well, no, I figure I'll do a, I mean, if done, there'll be the day I'll show up in front of his place and say, "Hey, the fuck's your problem?" And we can do it. We can do it live.
Drop the link.
That's the Milwaukee thing. I mean, he's a South Sider. I understand, thin skin,
Drop the link.
The link is out there. I mean, the link's actually, it's pegged.
You lucky, Tim. I don't have that safety net.
But,
the same reason why, usually America don't get attacked is because we have the big pond 3,000 miles separating us from the other continents.
Yeah.
Tim has triple that. And every man is, he's planning it out, man. He's going to make babies over there somehow. Every man, you could do like, how they do horses. You just go in and get yanked off.
I told, B-Joy, I said, that maybe that's an idea, go to the Philippines, make babies.
Sometimes I think about having a baby.
You have one. Stop.
Then I go and take a good shit, and I feel better about it. Yeah. So I feel bad. I want to see you two friends again.
Yeah.
I got to figure out a way to make this happen. No, because then if you get Tim back to talk to, then
Let's go back to the U.S. economy, right?
No, let's not.
What is actually wrong with the U.S. economy?
My 401k is down. My investments are down. It's Bidenomics killing me.
How?
By not fixing the freaking government. Got to do something.
Okay. So, how do you fix the government?
He's the president. Figure it out.
Right. So if you're sitting in the office, and you got to remember the purse strings are held by the Congress.
I don't like a president that is a puppet for his handlers, and his handlers aren't doing a good job like they used to before. It's like Weekend at Bernie's with the presidency. I don't want that.
So you believe that? I mean,
Weekend at Bernie's. They thought that Bernie was alive, but he really wasn't. Now they have better technology today than they did before. So they could prop this some bitch up forever.
Yeah. So the last president said he was going to hire the best and brightest, and then he kept firing them and saying, "Oh, this guy's an idiot." As things went bad. I haven't seen that happen under this president. But I can see your point, but the president really doesn't, run what the president does is he puts people in charge to run, organizations, based off of the rules they were given by the people that sit in the Congress.
Yeah, Biden's now building the wall.
Well, Yeah, and you know, and I
And the crazy thing about it, Scoot, is that in the 2 weeks that he's building the wall, he already built more than Trump did.
Here, nothing wrong with our economy. Let some more, let more illegals in, right? So, you know, I mean, he's talking about also about the 1 million illegal Filipinos in the U.S., as well as illegals from South America.
No, he's talking about the ones that are slipping in from Mexico and bringing fentanyl and killing our people.
But see, that's the thing is, you know, that's you know,
that's a fact. That's what that is.
That, you know, well, but here, right? I mean, actually, the Sinaloa cartel just south of Arizona just said, "Hey,
yeah, but by ignoring our our border, that's what's coming in by ignoring our border. We have to do something there."
Fentanyl, right? Now they already said if they catch anyone importing, right, the cartel, right, the drug cartel that sells cocaine and
take care every man. Go have fun. Get that roasty based out. He's a good guy.
Yeah. I mean, but the head of the cartels came out and said, "Hey, if we find out you're doing anything with fentanyl, selling, handling it, whatever, we will kill you." Right? Because it hurts their business. So the idea that fentanyl is just flowing over the southern border really isn't true. I mean, fentanyl is really easy to make. Right?
Yeah, it's out of control. We can't just have people coming and going.
But here,
we can't.
It was sort of like I mean, we went through this before with the crack thing. All the crack coming from Mexico, and then we found out no, it was people. People are making meth.
Know what? But Scott, you know what? Even if all the fentanyl wasn't coming through from there, we still can't just allow people to just plow through our borders. That's ridiculous.
Well, so
I'm for legal immigration.
Hold on. So you're saying that prior to 1952 we were wrong?
No, the problem is it ain't just the Mexican people, but the Mexican people are letting the people from Guatemala, Venezuela, like all these criminals, they go through Mexico and they come right in. So we got to do something.
Hold on. So is that a bad thing? I mean,
yes.
I'm just asking how. How's it a bad thing?
I just told you they're bringing in drugs. They're illegal. They're draining our resources without not paying any taxes.
But see, here's the thing is, I mean, the drugs are coming in because people here in the United States want to buy the drugs, right? So the people that come across the border are not bringing the drugs. It's other groups that are bringing drugs to supply and demand.
Scott, we can't even have a universal health care for Americans. Now we have all these illegals and we're going to save them, and they drain our resources. I want legal immigration. I'm all for legal.
Okay. So draining the resources, you're talking like in New York City, they're
everywhere.
All right. So what if these people came in and you said, "Hey, you know what? You can go to work. We're going to give you a Social Security number. You're going to go to work and you're paying Social Security. You're going to have to pay income
these
tax."
People, they need to be vetted. Listen, we have a migrant crisis here in New York City. We have too many of them. They're going off. They're killing people. They're using drugs. They're all over the place. A lot of these people are not good.
Wait. So you're okay here again. So you're saying that if there were no illegals, in New York City, the crime rate would be zero.
No, I didn't say that. What I said was that we wouldn't have illegals committing crimes. That's all I said. So it would just take away that portion. So what you're trying to say is that, so it wouldn't take away all the crime here, but let's add more from people who shouldn't even be here. That's the answer.
So you have, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, here's what I'm saying. Hey, Scott Expat's in the house.
How you doing, Scott Expat?
All right. So here, and Tim, no, I'm not saying the border is closed. Here's what I'm saying is if you gave these people a way to work legally, instead of just dropping them off and saying, "Hey, no money, no support, here you go," right? Yeah, those people commit crimes because, you know what? Their kids get hungry, right? They're hungry. Yeah, I'm going to commit a crime if I'm hungry enough. Trust me,
Scott, we're putting these people up in five-star hotels for like $5,000 a month. They're destroying the whole entire building structure. A lot of these people are not good, and people that are coming to this country need to be vetted.
Well, here. So if you brought people in and you said, hey, you know what? We need people to work. We need people to work. In McDonald's for $15 an hour in New York City.
All right, so let's set up a legal immigration plan where they can be vetted and they can have those jobs. All for it.
That's what I've always said is, let's do that instead of, them showing up, and then creating a system where, you tell them they can't work, they can't get a job, they have to stand.
Well, no, they shouldn't be here. The illegals shouldn't be here, so it doesn't matter about education and all of that. They just shouldn't be here.
Right. So who should be here in the U.S.?
The people that come through legal immigration.
Wait. So when? In 1950?
James Lonigan, welcome to the program.
Hey, James, how you doing? So you want the people here legally, right? In 1750? The people here.
We're talking about today. Everything that came before right now doesn't matter. What matters is today.
You're talking about, hey, they changed the law. They changed the law and said you have to be 20, you have to be 30 years old to drive, right? So that means, everyone has to be 30 years old to drive, but 20-year-olds are driving, they're crashing cars,
Driver's license are state decide that.
Well, I'm just saying,
not the federal government.
But here, illegal immigration, right? Like my Apache friend always says, hey, if you're against it, fine. Leave.
Yeah, I know. You told that joke a million times.
But he's got a point. He said, my people have been here for 1,000 years.
Doesn't matter what we're talking about today. We got criminals running over the border.
Very few. Most of them are just people looking for a job. But then we put in a system where they can't get a job.
Well, and don't forget, white America is not going to want, brown-skinned people to become the highest part of the population. So,
but I'm saying, so yeah, the thing is, I mean, if you're hiring somebody for your job, would you want a person to just walk 1,000 miles for that job, or do you want a guy that comes up, in his mom's, Mercedes and complains about, the air conditioning in the building?
That's not the point, Scott. You know it.
No, it is the point. I mean,
it's not the point. If they came over, listen, do it legally.
If you look at the greatest expansions of U.S. in U.S. history, is when people came over here. When people came from a different part of the world for whatever reason, whether it be the Irish because of the potato famine, whether it become this is not a problem. What we have is a problem of understanding. I mean, I love Tim's thing coming. Most of them come here looking for a job. They want to send money back home, just like the Filipinos that come here. Right? They don't come here looking for handout. They look, to get a job and send money back home.
Scott, I have no problem with immigrants working. They just have to come in legally, and they can work. They can have their shot at the American opportunity.
I've made this. Since the 80s, they've been. This problem has come up. I mean, Reagan gave 11.5 million.
Scott, 40 years ago isn't going to fix the problem we have right now.
See, but when they did that, okay, made them legal, right? Great, right? Then all of their kids, were legal. The thing I'm saying is here, let's make a policy, to fix it. Instead of demonizing the people, right? Then here, say, hey, you know what? I got an idea, right? We need, here in the United States, we need 30 million people above what we have just to pay our bills.
Look,
So
and
let's
Tropical Tim has a point too. They're not.
let's
A lot of them are
bring
not coming here to work. They're just coming here for benefits.
no, because you cannot get benefits without a social security number. I mean, God, that's the biggest lie ever told.
No, it's not.
No, you can show
Listen,
up in a
listen, Scott. Like I said, we have a migrant crisis here in New York. You know, if one of those people go out and get hit by a car, they're in our New York City hospital being treated for free.
that is paid by the hospital, which is a which most hospitals in the United States, right, that accept those, actually all of them that accept that are nonprofit organizations that don't pay taxes anyways.
Yeah, but why should we be? No, but that should be for American citizens. That shouldn't be for people who came here illegally.
So
yeah.
Okay, so if if a Canadian citizen drives over and gets hit by
I don't care what country they're from. If they're here illegally.
No, it doesn't matter. No. I mean, but so legal, illegal, it doesn't matter. There's a requirement that it doesn't matter if it's an emergency. Yeah, they get covered. Right? Doesn't matter. Right? You have insurance. What about the American doesn't have insurance? Should they not be covered?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If we're using up resources on these illegals, then it may not be there for the poor American.
No, it's a requirement, and that's why they're nonprofits, right? They don't make a profit according to all the hospitals in the world. In the U.S. they do not make a profit.
In New York City, in Queens now, they have a freaking it's basically the red light district, and it's just open air prostitution walking around in a section of Queens, Roosevelt Avenue, which I'll tell you is also right near Little Manila anyway. But it's just out in the open, people doing drugs, prostitutes, everything.
I thought you were going to say that,
and most of them are illegals.
Yeah. Oh, James is bringing up a point. If I leaked nuclear sub secrets, I'd be in jail. Just saying.
Well, he'd be in the hole, man. He'd be in solitary.
Here's what I'm saying. You're implying that. Oh no, it cost Americans red cents.
A fortune.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's easy. Right here, you come here. Right.
You know what? And I'm not even against like a day passes for Mexicans to come in and work, like especially our fields where they need people to pick the food. They get vetted, they get a pass, they live in Mexico, they come over the border, they work, they go home.
My buddy in Florida, he says one of the things people complain about is cost of food. Right? 30% of his oranges rotted because he couldn't find people to pick them. Because they clamped down on in Florida on the illegals. He says, hey, there's nobody to pick them.
That's why I'm saying it's almost like a driver's license. They get vetted, they get a pass, they can come into the United States to work.
So why do you think your oranges cost more? Is it because of inflation, or because that they just rotted on the ground?
They got to find stupid white people to pay triple what they would pay the Mexicans to pick it.
But as far as Tim brings up day workers from Mexico, but you're talking about people that work really close to the border.
Yeah.
And even
hey, listen, that helps.
Even the migrant workers. What we need is people to build houses. We need people to fix your plumbing.
We need legal people to do that, Scott. They have to be citizens of this country.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing is at what point, what do you call legal, versus illegal, right? Somebody comes up here looking for a job. Is it, what? Here's the deal.
Come on a work visa.
Oh, great. Okay.
I'm for giving more paths to citizenship too.
Hey, here, do me a favor. Take your passport, cut it in half, and say, hey, I need a new passport, and see how long it takes for you to get.
I don't want to do that. I need it.
Yeah, but it's going to take you.
What does that have to do with the price of eggs?
Right? So if you want to apply for a visa, right? If you want to apply for a visa to come to the United States, right? Talk to people that have applied for them.
Listen, other countries do the same thing to us. They do, and I heard even Europe, a bunch of countries are requiring visas for Americans.
But see, certain countries, like Italy. I mean, if you want to go to Italy and get a house, buy a house, and you have, and you want to work, you'll be, you get that visa in like one day. Yeah, I love Tim's thing. Flood. Yeah, we need.
I see the comments.
Yeah, I mean, Tim, that's great. But here, company here in Mesa, right? We need 47 employees, right? 47, right? We're hiring people that are in their 60s and 70s that are on Social Security, right? To work for jobs that start at $23 an hour now, right? And we're losing $2 million a month because the production rate is so low because they work, but it's too hard on my knees. It's
Scott, I have no problem with immigrants working, man. They just have to come legal. That's all.
Well, here, okay, so let's make a system where they can come legally.
Yeah, let's.
Instead of this arguing back and forth about
right.
the color of their skin. Oh my God, I mean, as a white guy, I can't. I'm going to lose. I mean, it's like the thing in Alabama about congressional districts. The U.S. Supreme Court told you pick two, majority black ones, because that's what you should have out of your 7 seats. And they, after 3 months, they came back and said, well, this is as close as we can get. We still have one, and the other one, it's almost 35, almost 37% black. Depends on you count. And it got thrown out again. Right? And then somebody had to pick one, and say, here's 3 options. You pick which one you want. And they're crying about it. So, the federal government's telling us, they said, it ain't that hard. Here, let's make an immigration system that doesn't care. Let's go back to the 1940. Let's go back to the 1920 immigration system. Right? When 13 million, when 13 million people got on a boat and got off at Ellis Island and signed their name. Okay. Yep, you're in. You're legal. No, let's go back to that. Open up the gates. See how great this country could be again. Because all those people would need a house. They pay taxes. They pay, Social Security. I mean, this idea that only so many people from one country, and that started in the 50s under Eisenhower. No, let's end that policy. Let's end the policy of certain people from certain countries. No, let's open it up. Let's let 5 million Chinese in here. But when and don't worry about vetting them. We'll do it when they get here because we can watch everything they do. Illegal people, you have no idea what they're doing. And somebody who thinks that we can secure our border by building a wall, let me tell you something. Right? I mean, it used to drive me nuts. Iraq and Afghanistan, 7 years there, right? Working as a consultant in the U.S. military. Right? I made the comment to John McCain when I came back in 2011. I said, after all those years, I said, billions of dollars spent. Right? Rabia, right, on the Syrian, on the Syrian border. How much the Americans spent after $1 billion. How much of that border we controlled? 50 feet from where we stood, maybe 100. Right? After that, anyone, and everyone else out there.
All right, so I take it from your dissertation there that basically we should just let everybody come in with whether they have fentanyl or they're criminal. Just let everybody in. Don't try to do nothing. Don't try to do nothing to stop them. No, 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 no. Just let them in.
I'm saying, hey, when people.
Well, that's what you're advocating.
No, what I'm saying is that people.
I haven't heard you say once what I say, which is I'm for legal immigration.
Okay, so let's change what legal is. Right?
Yeah, it definitely has to be worked on for sure.
Right?
There's a lot of good people all over the world that want to come to this country, and I'm for them coming and contributing.
Right. Yeah.
It's got to be done legally.
Okay. Right. So.
Oh, what's the big deal? You know, a few people from Venezuela come over and just want to get a job. I'm not against these people, but they got to do it legally.
Right. So let's make a system where they can come here very easily, legally, looking for a job. Right. Give them a 30-day. Give them a 30-day. You know, hey, 30 days.
That's a good point Tim's making. Sure. A lot of these people, I'm telling you, they're criminals.
Right. So, you know, I mean, I seen that, you know, I've seen that, you know, firsthand. Go to Loma Linda, you know, California, where like, you know, they have a huge Filipino, you know, population. And they don't follow the US laws, and they're all there legally. Right? They, you know, I mean, they flaunt, you know, I mean, there's people that have sheds in their backyards with garden hoses, and, you know, and that because rents are very high there. And
Scott, I'm not for any. I don't care where they come from in the world. If they're here illegally, whether it's Filipina, Canadian, or whoever, I don't want them here illegally.
These are legal. These are legal U.S. you know residents and American-born residents that will, you know, they'll take a garden hose and run it outside of a shed, and they'll, you know, have, you know, and Filipinos will come and pay them $1,000 a month to rent that. Right, to stay there, right, for their vacation in the U.S. They're not legal, but, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter. You know, it's their culture. It's, you know, hey, they got a dirty kitchen. They got a little.
You're right. It's their culture. But when they're in our country, they're supposed to go by our culture. Just like if you lived in the Philippines, you should be, you know, respectful of their culture or any country.
Right. You know, chances are they won't follow our laws. Okay.
Peter Frank, welcome to the program.
And, you know, and it happens. Okay. What's up? Right. You know, but see, you know, but that's what I'm saying. Okay. So you create a system where, you know, somebody presents themselves at the border. Hey, why you here? You know, asylum, whatever, you know, whatever reason.
And not to mention that, you know, just because they're coming through Mexico doesn't mean they're Mexicans. Tim's right. You know, they probably have, you know, terrorist cells all over this country because we're just letting people in.
What about, hey, you know, here, let them work. You know, the problem you have in New York City is these people cannot work legally. So what are their options?
No, the problem is that they're here illegally. If they weren't here illegally, they wouldn't have the problem that they can't work legally.
Wait. So give them the chance, right? Say, hey, you know what? Here's the deal. We're going to send you up to New York City. You have 90 days to get a job, or we deport you. Would that be a problem?
I don't want anyone here illegally.
Well, okay. So what is illegal? What do you consider illegal? I mean,
not following the U.S. immigration laws, I would consider that illegal.
Which law? The one in 1952, as they amended in 59.
I'm not saying that the law doesn't need to be, you know, updated and fixed, but they still have to do it legally. Sorry.
Like I said, what if they done that?
What happens if you stay, you know, if you don't pay your visas bills in the Philippines? Well, they'll eventually catch up to you, maybe put you in jail or deport you.
What happens here in the United States?
We do shit.
Yeah. I mean, there's 1 million Filipinos living in the United States that tourist visas expired. You know how many Filipinos show up in the U.S. to work in nursing homes here in the United States on tourist visas where they cannot work? I mean, it happens here all the time. Right? I mean, 10-year tourist visas. Right? I mean, that's,
Well, obviously, then they're breaking the law. I don't care what. I don't care what ethnicity, whatever.
But
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like if an expat immigrated to any country in the world, Colombia, Philippines, whatever, you're expected to follow the laws of the country that you're in. So, I mean, why shouldn't we expect the same thing? And if they don't, then we get them out of here.
No, think. Right, so who supports themselves during the first 90 days? Well, who supports them when they're living in New York City? You know, when they can't even get a job.
They're not supposed to be here.
Hold on.
You keep skipping that important point.
Okay, so how do you stop them?
Build the wall.
Yeah.
Vet them.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. What kind of wall would you want to build?
A nice wall. Pretty wall. Preferably something with, what is that?
Okay.
Zen.
So what wall would you like to build?
We could put a little rock garden in front of it.
I almost laugh. Okay, so you want the Trump wall that Mexico's going to pay for, that we spent billions of dollars and Mexico paid $0 for?
You want to know something? Mexico don't need to pay for it. It'll be we'll save money in the long term if we keep out illegal people.
Right. So you're going to build a wall at the southern border and the northern border. So you're
both sides. Let's do Canada too.
Right? And what about the ocean?
Yes, I want a border going across the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans to make America safe again.
And looking at the Trump wall, right? The cost per mile of new wall, not replacements that were already paid for under the Obama and even in the Bush things that they hadn't got to.
We got to pay our unions a livable wage.
Absolutely. I mean, I love unions.
How about that? We should put all the immigrants. We should stop them at the border and hire them to build the wall. Then they'll have a job and they'll be getting paid.
I made that comment. 5 years ago. I said, "Hey, you know what? Let's hire a Mexican firm."
Yeah, well, according to you, Scott, 100% of them coming across the border is here to work. So let's give them a job. Build the wall.
Yeah, I said, let's hire a Mexican firm to build the wall, and they would probably build a much better wall than we would.
No, we don't hire a firm. We just stop the ones coming across and saying, "Listen, here's work for you. Start laying bricks."
Wait. Tim says, 90 days in New York, can't speak English, uneducated, etc. What kind of job could those people get, basically? Right?
No, they'll get shit jobs.
Hold on. Right? Living in New York City. Right?
They'd have to live like 20 in an apartment.
Yeah, but hold on. Okay, that never happens, right? No, hold on. Right? They cannot speak English. Can you live in New York City and you do not speak English at all?
Unfortunately, they can, and they do.
Yeah. I mean, no. Are there American citizens that live in New York City?
But you know what? With that, it's just not the Spanish. Like, Chinese, they don't know a lick of English, but they know how to, make change for your bill.
And they're American citizens.
I don't know about all of them.
Yeah. But, I mean, some are. So, it's argument that somehow you have to speak English to live in the U.S. Bullshit.
And English should be the language of the United States. It's bullshit that we don't have one.
Oh, no. I mean, it's like, really? I mean, so you want to pick your religion and your, and
no
your
religion,
language?
Just speaking a language in a foreign country is important.
You want them to speak American, not English.
Yes, American, not British English. I want them to speak American English.
Yeah.
Because I really think those Brits are just messing with us with that language that they have.
I mean,
So what's your solution, Scott? Just, I mean, the only thing I get from you is just let everybody run wild.
well, here, I think we should go back to the 1920 policies.
Ugh.
For 5 years. 5 years. Hey, let's open up the gates. I mean, we have a problem here in the U.S. Hey, we have
You can't open the gate without vetting. Forget that. That's
hold on.
dumb.
I'm not talking about not vetting. I'm saying, I mean,
You just never mention it. You just open up the gates, let them in.
Well, we did that, and we let, we let the mafia in, and it took us a while to get a hold of it, but it wasn't a big problem. The American economy did really well, from opening up the gates and let everyone in, right? For a lot of years, we let in.
Well, Scott, also don't forget, we live in a hold on. We live in a different time than the 1920s. In the 1920s, we didn't have people coming here trying to blow up the country and terrorize us.
Right.
So we just can't open the gates, as you say.
We did.
Well, we shouldn't.
We had, I mean, we brought in the, Nazi party. We brought in, quite a few different things that, you probably think, in the 1920s when they did this, and when a lot of people came here, we let in the Irish. We let in, So hey, open it up. I mean, white people. I think what I see a lot of is, a lot of our, policies since the 50s and Eisenhower, thing have been, like keeping white people in power, right? And I don't really care about the color of your skin. Right? Do you love this country? I mean, some of the most patriotic, soldiers in World War II were Japanese, right? And they're not recognized, right? The Navajo, the Code Talkers, right? Some of the most patriotic Americans that were shit on, right? And they're still shit on today.
All Americans that came over at the different intervals got shit on. When the Irish came, they got shit on. Every ethnic group did.
Yeah, the Navajo.
But you know what? One of the differences was, though, then, Scott, is that from everything I read and have been told, like when, the Dutch came, the Irish, the Germans, and all these people, it was a big deal for them to learn to adapt to the country that they moved to. They would learn English.
And here's the thing.
Now we have all these countries that they just want to live in their own little world in the U.S.
Exactly. Right. And that's part of the thing is we don't have a melting pot. What we have is diversity pot, you want to call it. And we do not, I mean, back then, these people came in and they became part of the American experience. Right? They became part of the American experience. What we have now is, you came here from what country? Go over there. Be with those. Right? We became the, diversity pot. Where, you got to be over.
No. I disagree. America is a boiling pot. That's why, the whole country's at risk of tearing itself apart.
If you go back to New York City, right? It used, God, back in the 70s, New York, you could cut, draw lines on the map. Hey, where the Italians lived, where the Germans lived, where all the different groups lived.
Yeah, it's called ghettos.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we still have them. We have Chinese, we have different Spanish groups.
But today, right, when you go those places, they're mixed in. I mean, there is no way you can, say in New York City, that Brooklyn is going to be a bunch of Irish people.
I can't highlight. The military should be on the border checking cartel. Of course, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and and very few, and very few of the people coming across the border are cartel or smuggling drugs. I mean, 99%. I mean, it goes back 10 years. I mean, 99% of the people, crossing the border are not drug smugglers. I mean, drug smugglers do not do it that way.
These drug smugglers coming over, I mean, they've built extensive tunnels to go underneath. They've worked out where there's just no border at all.
But they're not running people. I mean, I was laughed. Somebody says, "Oh,
see, but it doesn't matter though, because if they're coming in illegally, they have to be stopped, whether they're criminals or not."
Here's the best thing, right? I mean, if I was running, if I was, going to bring fentanyl across the U.S., I would pay money to get you guys going after the people, running across the border at a river or whatever. Oh yeah, yep, that's where we're getting it.
Yummy Mango, welcome to the program, Yummy Mango.
I would do that. I would do that every day of the week. Because
see, Yummy has a Visa and an American Express card.
Yeah.
She gets it. Hey, in New York, we have a special immigration thing for models, European models. They can come over easily.
Yeah.
And I'm for it.
Oh, I mean, Filipino models, whatever.
No, European.
But here's what I'm saying, JJ. Right? Is that is why not open up? The thing. I mean, we have such a lack of workers here in the U.S. We do not want to be Japan, right? We do not want to be Japan, where we're losing so much money because we closed our borders up for 50 years. That today we have negative. Actually, here in the U.S., we actually do have negative population growth, right? And we are the same place they were 25 years ago. And now they have a 40% negative, population growth. Right? I mean,
yeah, but letting people come in illegal is not the solution to that problem. Now, we may have to revamp immigration laws, but you just can't let them come in and do run wild.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We are doing exactly what they did.
I'll tell you what, they can all come in illegally, and as long as they stay in your area of Mesa or wherever the hell it is, then I'm fine with it.
Hold on, I got to yell at Ray. Ray, how you doing? Yeah, John says you got to go. Okay. But here's
take care, Tim. Thanks for stopping in.
I mean, this was a this.
Could you please make up with Scoot? His heart is broken over your loss.
Call me.
Call him an SOB, but call him.
But anyways, but here's the thing.
Mark Jake, welcome in.
Our economy's broken today because we have a bad, we had a bad immigration policy for 40 years. We've done nothing.
Yeah, well, I'm not arguing that. I agree with you. I actually agree with you on that one.
We got to fix it. Okay,
we do.
What is the fix?
Well, see, the thing is that these people who get elected, that may not be popular across the country, so they don't really work on it.
No, everyone wants us to fix it, but nobody ever does.
I never hear politicians talking about revamping the immigration system.
Oh, no, they do. They said, we got to fix it.
That might be on page 32.
As far as it goes, we got to fix it. So how do we fix it?
We fix the laws. And we can, and you know what it is that, we could be so creative with the ways to make paths to natural citizenship and immigration.
Yeah.
Like we could do the work things, work visas, student visas, and make it legal and let people in, good people.
So,
and for all different, and for like all different,
but you
skill sets.
We got to, so how do we fix the law? Okay, so if somebody shows up and says, "Hey, I want asylum."
Well, it's hard to fix the law when you have a government crumbling from within itself. It's hard to do anything, actually.
But here, let me tell you about Dr. Aziz, right? He's my interpreter. I used him for 7 years in Afghanistan. Right? When I left it, in 2011, I petitioned for him, his wife, right, his 2 daughters to come here to the U.S. Right, under our immigration law. Right?
Like I have a great path to wait, Scott. I have a great path to citizenship in the U.S. We'll take all your hot women,
Mm-hmm.
and they can come and become naturalized citizens.
But here, in 2000, in 2000,
And we'll let Trump decide who's the hot women.
Yeah, in 2018, him, right, his wife, and both his daughters were killed. Still waiting for the U.S. government to finish vetting him because he didn't have a social security number. He didn't have,
Take care, Pete. Thanks for stopping in.
I mean, he went,
Scott, it's good to recognize the chatters once in a while. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But I said, this idea, that, vetting, what is vetting? I mean, you know what vetting was back in 1920? Yeah,
I don't give a shit what it was in 1920.
Yeah, but
to me, vetting is they have no criminal history, they didn't kill nobody, they're not making threats against people, stuff like that.
It's sort of like getting on a plane.
And if they have a useful skill, that would be helpful too.
Exactly. So if you get on the plane, did you build the bomb yourself, or did somebody else build the bomb? Did you load the bomb in your bag yourself, or I mean, what's your answer? You want to get on a plane? I mean, criminals are going to lie. So there is no vetting.
Well, I'd like to at least attempt it.
Yeah. So great. So you ask them.
You know what? And then you can set up deals with certain countries, and try to widen it as much as possible, but where you have some type of access to their criminal system. And
I told somebody, I said, in all honesty, if you offered U.S. citizenship, right, that if you come here and you work, you pay your taxes, you don't commit crimes in Afghanistan, hey, to 1 million people, right, you get 5 million that would apply for it, right? And
yeah, but those countries are hard to believe because they're all terrorists.
Why? No, gosh, no. I mean, somebody believes that? No, absolutely.
Well, they don't really do nothing to prevent it.
Here in the United States, 90% are criminals.
I think we got enough Muslims.
We have the largest criminal population of the entire world.
Yes, we do.
We only represent like 2% of the world population. We incarcerate like 1%. So the U.S. government, the U.S. are criminals according to most of the world.
Yeah, but Australia was built on it.
Huh? Yeah,
Australia was built on criminality.
I mean, Scott Expat,
Scott's a great guy, but you don't want to leave your wallet laying around when he's near.
Yeah, I mean, he comes from an entire country that was built on criminals.
Exactly.
I mean, should we vet them? How far?
No, when I being in New York, I get to meet some Australians every time. Very nice people. Just keep an eye on your wallet and your valuables, and you should be fine. But it's okay because they're white and they have blue eyes.
Yeah. What's Scott saying? All Arabic like Sharia law. No, actually, what I found out is that, as far as Sharia law goes, yeah, a lot of Arabic men kind of like it because it puts them, pretty much, in command. But in all honesty,
In fact, I think I'm going to run for Congress, and my first plank is we're going to let in models from all over the world, and I'll be the judge.
I told you, I said, we'll open a business up, over in the Philippines. We'll do free breast exams.
I do that now.
I mean, free,
Scott, I do. I give free breast exams now to any woman that'll let me touch their tits.
I say, and free gynae exams, I was thinking that'd be a great business. I'll open up a little place right there on the highway, inside highway, just outside Merrimack, like, and and that'll charge like charge Americans and Europeans like $40 an hour to sit there and do the exams.